It's a movie about truth, justice, and the American way, with a superhero during World War II. Sounds like an awesome premise for a movie, right? I mean, great care and consideration would have to be taken into account when choosing the director for this film. I mean, you've got Spielberg, you've got Michael Mann. I mean, this is a movie you'd have to pick a director that is very skilled in... So the guy that did this, and this, and this, is directing Captain America. This is going to be a long movie. Well, without further ado, let's dive right into Captain America. Our movie starts out with a scene in the Arctic where we see agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. digging through the ice as they find a ship, and inside that ship is Captain America's frozen corpse. It's kind of morbid, but cool. Cut back to 1942 in Norway, where a giant, unrealistic CGI tank has just broken through a wall with a battering ram. Here we're introduced to the Red Skull, played by Hugo Weaving, who has the most god-awful German accent I've ever seen in a movie in my life.
I think that you are a man of great vision, and in this way we are...
I mean, listen to it. Does it sound at all German? It sounds like Agent Smith with a slighter different tone.
As you can see, we've had our eye on you for some time now, Mr. Anderson.
What others see as superstition, you and I know to be a science.
Anywho, we found out that he's looking for something called the Tesseract artifact. An Odin artifact?
The Tesseract was the jewel of Odin's treasure room.
Well, the Red Skull finds the blue glowing box of power and kills the person guarding it. Wait, how did he get blood on his shirt? Clearly there's no blood when he shoots the guy, and all of a sudden, it's on him in the next shot. Huh, weird. The Red Skull is evil. We then cut to New York, where we're introduced to our hero, Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, played by Chris Evans. Whoa! That actually looks pretty amazing. That visual effect looks fantastic. Anyway, Steve is trying to enlist into the military, but due to his size and long list of medical conditions, he's denied.
Sorry, son.
He then gets into a fight with a bully at a local movie theater, and gets his ass kicked in the process. Until he's saved by his childhood friend, James Barnes, aka Bucky, played by Sebastian Shaw, who tells him he's going off to war, but not before taking Steve to the 1943 World's Fair. And that's a horrible shot. And it's horrible because you can tell nothing is real in it except for the actors. But don't worry, there are many more to come. In fact, let's make a counter. Bucky takes Steve to the World's Fair to go on a double date. See, look at this shot. Everything looks real. It looks 100% better than this shot. This shot, this shot, or this shot. I digress. Moving on. We get a cameo from Howard Stark, Tony Stark's father. This is a pretty fun scene. It's simple, to the point, sets the mood for the time period, and gets a joke in on the way. Well done, movie. Well done. At the World's Fair, Steve finds the recruitment office and decides to try again. Then Bucky and him get in a heated argument. You know, they never really explain why he wants to enlist so bad. He never actually gives us a reason. Like, I want to fight for freedom, or I want to fight for my country. We do get this reason.
I don't like bullies.
Anyway, we're now introduced to Dr. Abraham Eckstein, played by Stanley Tucci, whose accent is 1,000 times better than Hugo Weaving's.
Queens, 73rd Street and Utopia Parkway.
Dr. Abraham is interested why Steve has tried to enlist 5 times. Then we finally get the question of why he wants to fight so bad.
I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
Oh, that's the reason. Well, I'm glad it's not like, for freedom or anything. The doctor sees his ambition and gives Steve a chance to enlist, which he excitedly accepts. We then cut back to Europe. Now we're introduced to Dr. Zolov, the Red Skull's right-hand man, or scientist, or whatever, who's been designing weapons that could turn the tide of the war, and now the Red Skull has the cube of power! And the Doctor's inventions can now be powered and used against the Allies.
This will change the world.
Meanwhile, we join Steve Rogers back in boot camp, where we're introduced to Peggy Carter, played by Haley Atwell, who serves no purpose in this movie other than a romantic love interest for Steve. I kid you not, she serves no other purpose in the entire movie. Just like Bucky.
Get your ass up out of that.
Holy shit, Tommy Lee Jones is in this movie?
General Patton.
Finally, another actor that keeps up pace with Stanley Tucci.
Fought with weapons, but they are won by men.
Tommy Lee Jones plays Colonel Phillips, and he does an outstanding job at his character. Much like the Doctor, you enjoy seeing him on screen. We then cut to a montage of training scenes with Rogers getting ready for war, while Tommy Lee Jones calmly explains to us what their division is and what they're there for. We see Steve struggle in the physical department, but then we see him out how to get a flag proving he's smarter than their soldiers. It's a cute scene. Colonel Phillips then has a chat with Dr. Abraham about who to pick for the project. And honestly, this is one of the best scenes in the entire movie. I mean, the energy back and forth between Tommy Lee and between Stanley Tucci is just really good. I mean, Tommy Lee's just such a good actor in general. You really can't deny him.
Stick a needle in that kid's arm, it's gonna go right through him.
Come on, girls.
Look at that. He's making me cry.
Colonel Phillips tries to prove a point that's saying war is won by guts by throwing a dummy grenade, because apparently there's a whole box of them in the truck, and Steve uses his body to sacrifice himself to protect the other people, which proves to Phillips that Steve is the right choice.
He's still skinny.
This entire scene is one of the strongest ones in the movie. It's really done well. Later that night, the Doctor and Steve have a talk, and in this scene you really feel an emotional connection between him and Rogers. Until this weird montage comes up explaining the Red Skull's origin. Honestly, it's such a weird and boring montage. This is what we get for our villain origin story? A montage recap? Meanwhile, back in Germany, I guess we're never really told where this is, we find that the Red Skull... What? Are you really trying to hide his face for film tension? His face is on the poster, for God's sake! Anyway, we find out that they find out where Dr. Abraham is, and the US and the spy is going to go kill him. God, his accent is horrible. I just can't get over it.
If we take it away from them, then our victory is assured.
Meanwhile, back in New York, they try to build romantic tension between him and the girl, and they go through the thing, and they get to the lab, and that's about it. So Steve is about to become a super soldier.
60, 70.
Shut it down.
Wait, he starts screaming so they try to stop the process?
Shut it down.
What's the point of this scene? To create tension? It makes no sense. The Doctor had to expect this process to be painful. In fact, I would be even more concerned if Steve wasn't screaming at all. This whole process doesn't make sense. He starts screaming, so they immediately pull the plug on the project. I'm not sure what the movie's trying to do here, but I was raising my eyebrow during this scene.
Shut it down.
So anyway, the project is a success and Steve Rogers becomes a super soldier. And apparently, becoming a super soldier also comes inclined with a hairstylist and a tan. The Hydra agent, because I guess there are no Nazis in this movie, kills the Doctor and tries to escape. Initiate high-budget car chase scene! Steve catches the agent, who tries to escape in a one-man submarine. Yeah, I don't know why it's a submarine either. I guess a boat was too boring. But kills himself before any information can be had. We then go back to, wow. What? Wait. What happened in 1942? Is this the present or the past? Oh no, it's just horrible production design. My God, who designed those costumes? They look horrible. Why are they wearing that? Why aren't they wearing World War II uniforms? That costume not only clashes with the time period, but it looks atrocious. Anyway, so the Red Skull states that he's done working for Hitler and the Nazis, not like we saw them in this movie anyway, and kills all of Hitler's men, I guess. Wait, didn't he say earlier he harnessed the power of the gods?
I have harnessed the power of the gods.
He made a laser gun! A laser gun! That's the power of the gods?
Sophisticated heat beam, which we called a laser.
Hail Hydra.
Meanwhile, back in the States, the military has to decide what to do with Rogers. Colonel Phillips decides that there's too much to be invested in Steve to throw him in war, so he's stuck in the States for now, until the senator offers him a chance to become an American icon to sell war bonds. Now, this take is actually pretty clever. I mean, what do you do with a super soldier you don't want to go into war and die? And it's not a bad montage and song either. It's actually pretty catchy. Again, point to you, movie. Well done. Eventually, Steve gets tired of promoting war bonds and finds out while on base in Italy that his friend Bucky of the 107th Division has been captured. You remember Bucky, right? He was in the movie for about 10 minutes. And why is he promoting this stuff so close to the front lines? I mean, I'm not a war expert, but I wouldn't say that's any place for civilians to be. So he decides to put his talents to use to go and save Bucky and the rest of the 107th Division. And you know what? I actually like this costume better than the one we get later on. So Cap is dropped off at one of the Hydra plans after more romantic tension is trying to be had. And whoever thought that was good production design should be fired. Now we're introduced to the Howling Commandos, who are actually pretty interesting and have a lot of character to them. But it's a mindless action movie. Who needs character development? Those costumes are so bad. Cap infiltrates the base and releases the prisoners, and an all-out jailbreak pursues. With laser guns! Pew pew pew! Steve finds Bucky and then comes face to face with the Red Skull and his horrible German accent. They exchange a few lines, blah blah blah, they try to shoot each other, they fail. It's very all anticlimactic. Of course, there's explosions happening all around them like a Michael Bay film. So the Red Skull gets away and Cap is forced to try to escape the burning building. Just kidding. I wish. Because the next 50 minutes is real bad. Cap returns a hero and is cheered among the camp, and Colonel Phillips is surprised and happy that he's become an asset to the war effort. Meanwhile, back in London, we get a quick recap of what the Red Skull is up to and what the Allies are up against. Cap gets his shield and his new uniform, I still prefer the old one, and his new team, the Howling Commandos, and his mission to destroy the remaining Hydra weapon factories. Initiate over-the-top action scene montage! Oh, wait, sorry. I'm sorry.
Initiate 3D montage!
Yourself to the test and show us a passage of time. We're gonna need a montage, sports training montage.
You are failing!
That line sums up the movie in general. Play the line again.
You are failing!
We fought to the last man.
Evidently not.
We then see Cap try to destroy a Hydra weapons train. But it goes bad and Bucky dies. You know, Bucky. His friend that had nothing to do with really anything. Dies. Yep, don't care. We then get a scene with Tommy Lee Jones, who convinces the evil Dr. Zolob to tell him the location of the Hydra main base. A horrible performance by Hugo Weaving when he tries to perform a moving evil speech with a bad green screen shot. Followed by a scene where Cap is upset about the death of Bucky. He should be. I'm not. In fact, let's play that clip again. I have no personality! Cap then single-handedly infiltrates the Hydra base, and not one thing can stop him apparently, and no one has guns or apparently knows how to use them. Like this guy! Yeah, just kidding again. He's captured, and the Red Skull decides to tell him his whole plan and how he's more sophisticated than him before killing him himself. The USA breaks up the party and frees Cap.
You sly dog! You got me monologuing! I can't believe it.
By the way, I really like how all three of those henchmen fall down at the exact same time.
So am I.
Wait. You know what? If that had been a regular gun, its bullets would have gone through the henchman and hit Cap. laser weapons suck.
Sophisticated heat beam, which we called a laser.
We see Hydra troops getting beaten by the US military. Funny, they all have the power of the gods. Why are they losing? Anyway, they fight, troops die, Captain chases the Red Skull into a plane with A-bombs, I guess. They never really quite explain what kind of bombs those are. Anyway, this makes room for another pointless, expensive action scene. You know, I could literally cut this whole scene out as it serves no purpose to the movie whatsoever. Watch. See, I just saved 4 minutes and $250,000. Anyway, Cap and the Red Skull meet up and have a disappointing final battle where the Red Skull is sent to Isengard or something, and Cap is forced to crash his plane before it reaches New York. Now Cap wakes up in present day and Nick Fury tells him he's been asleep for over 70 years. And our last line of this instant classic?
Yeah, I had a date.
That was Captain America, the First Avenger. Is it as bad as I make it out? The movie has some good moments, and certain scenes work really well, in particular the scenes with Stanley Tucci and Tommy Lee Jones. But overall, the movie's bland. Chris Evans does a decent job as Captain America, but Sebastian Shaw and Haley Atwell's characters are just boring and forgettable, and Hugo Weaving's performance is absolutely atrocious. Now, it's not the worst superhero movie I've ever seen, but it's definitely not the greatest. I mean, you don't even feel like you're in 1943 half the time when there's laser weapons being blasted all over the place. This is not how you do a 1940s serial World War II style movie. Having Joe Johnston direct this really hurt the movie more than helped, in my opinion. But when you have the guy who directed Jurassic Park 3, I guess you can't ask for that much. The highly anticipated Avengers film, directed by Joss Whedon, is coming out soon, and to be honest, you could probably skip Captain America altogether. It offers so little in far as story and character development, it's a mindless action flick. I'm the Fan, and I'll see you guys next time on the Fan Review.
You are failing!